For 30 years, I watched my father give my brother everything while I got nothing. Every opportunity, every dollar, every ounce of pride and attention. Then my father died, and at the will reading, my brother smiled because he thought he'd won, thought he'd inherited everything, until the lawyer said my name. I'm Sophia Martinez, 35 years old. My entire life, my father favored my younger brother, Marcus. Private school while I went to public, college was fully paid while I took loans, down payment for his house while I rented, business startup money while I worked retail. Marcus needs help getting started. You're strong, Sophia. You'll figure it out. That phrase, for 30 years, you'll figure it out. So I did. Put myself through college, built a career, paid off $60,000 in student loans, bought my own house at 32, all alone, no help. Meanwhile, Marcus got everything. Failed business after failed business. Dad always bailed him out. Bad investments. Dad covered the losses. 3 months behind on mortgage. Dad paid it. At my father's funeral 2 weeks ago, Marcus whispered to me, "At least you won't have to pretend to care anymore. We both know I'm getting everything." Yesterday was the will reading. Marcus showed up smug, ready to claim his inheritance. Then the lawyer read the numbers, and Marcus's face went from confident to destroyed in 30 seconds. This is the story of how my father's final act was the first time he ever chose me, and how my brother learned that being the favorite doesn't always mean winning. Before I tell you what my father left, before you hear what my brother said when he realized he'd been wrong, hit like now. Subscribe for inheritance justice stories. Comment on your city. Let's expose golden child syndrome. Growing up, Martinez meant one thing. Marcus mattered. I didn't. I was 7 when I first understood. Marcus was 4. Dad took him to work. He needs to see what a man does, learn the business. I asked, "What about me?" Dad said, "You're helping your mother. That's what girls do." At 10, I wanted piano lessons. Dad said, "Too expensive." At 11, Marcus started private piano lessons, $200 a month. At 14, I applied to a private high school, got accepted, full academic scholarship. I just needed to cover books and activities, $800 a year. Dad said, "Public school is fine. You don't need a private school." At 15, Marcus applied to the same private school. No scholarship, full tuition, $18,000 a year. Dad paid every penny. He needs the best education. He's got potential. At 18, I got into UC Berkeley, my dream school. Needed help with housing costs, $5,000 a year. Dad said, "Take loans. You're smart. You'll pay them off." At 18, Marcus got into a mediocre private college. No scholarships, $45,000 a year. Dad paid all 4 years. He needs support. College is tough. I graduated from Berkeley with $60,000 in loans, got a job in marketing, started paying $300 a month, would take 20 years to pay off. Marcus graduated with 0 debt, moved back home, played video games for 6 months. At 25, I bought a car, used Honda, $12,000, saved for 2 years, paid cash. At 24, Marcus wanted a car, new BMW, $35,000. Dad co-signed, paid the down payment, $10,000 in cash. At 28, Marcus started a business, tech startup, needed $50,000 seed money. Dad gave it to him. He's learning. He'll get it right eventually. That business failed too. At 32, I bought my first house, 3-bedroom in the suburbs, $280,000. I'd saved $40,000 for a down payment. Took me 6 years. Dad came to see it, looked around, said, "Nice place. Small, but nice." At 33, Marcus bought a house, 4-bedroom in a fancy neighborhood, $450,000. He had 0 down payment money. Dad gave him $90,000. He needs help getting started. I'd saved for 6 years for my down payment. Marcus got his handed to him. At 34, Marcus was 3 months behind on his mortgage, about to foreclose, owed $15,000. Dad paid it. He's going through a rough patch. For 30 years, this pattern, every opportunity, every dollar, every chance, Marcus got everything. I got the "you'll figure it out." And I did figure it out. Built a successful career, marketing director, making $85,000, paid off my student loans last year, owned my house outright after aggressive payments. I didn't need Dad's money anymore. I'd built my life without it. But it still hurt watching Marcus fail again and again, and Dad just kept giving. 2 months ago, Dad got sick. Cancer, stage 4, 6 weeks to live. I visited every day after work, sat with him, read to him, helped him eat, held his hand. Marcus visited twice, both times asking if Dad had updated his will. Dad died 3 weeks ago. I was there, holding his hand. Marcus was at a bar. The funeral was small, 60 people, family, friends, Dad's business partners. Marcus gave the eulogy, talked about a great father Dad was, how he taught him about business, about life, about success. Never mentioned me. Not once, in a 10-minute eulogy about family. After the service, Marcus pulled me aside. "I know you're upset about how Dad favored me, but that's just how it was. He saw potential in me." I said, "Marcus, you failed at everything Dad invested in." He said, "I'm still young, still figuring it out. Dad understood that." I said, "You're 32. When do you stop figuring it out?" He said, "Look, I'm getting the house, the business, the investments. Dad told me years ago. You've got your career. You're fine. You don't need his money." I said, "Did Dad tell you that, or did you assume?" He said, "He told me multiple times. I'm the son, the legacy. You got your independence. I get the inheritance." I said, "We'll see." He smirked. "Yeah, we will." The will reading was scheduled for 1 week later. Dad's lawyer, Robert Chen, Dad's office, 2 p.m. Marcus showed up in a new suit, confidence radiating. I wore work clothes, just came from the office. Robert said, "Thank you both for coming. This is the last will of Eduardo Martinez. Let me read the relevant sections." Marcus leaned back, relaxed, ready to claim his prize. Robert read, "To my son, Marcus, I leave the following. My 2018 Toyota Camry, valued at approximately $12,000, my personal effects, including clothing, watches, and personal items, and the sum of $50,000 in cash." Marcus's smile faltered. "Wait, what about the house, the business?" Robert said, "Let me continue." Robert continued reading. "To my daughter, Sophia Martinez, I leave the following. My house in Riverside, valued at approximately $600,000. My business, Martinez Construction, valued at approximately $1.2 million. My investment portfolio, valued at approximately $800,000. My retirement accounts, valued at approximately $400,000. Total estate value to Sophia, approximately $3 million. Silence. Complete silence. Marcus stood up. "That's impossible. Dad promised me the business, the house, everything." Robert said, "Mr. Martinez, your father was very clear. Sophia receives the bulk of the estate." Marcus said, This is wrong. He wouldn't do this. Sophia, you did something. You manipulated him. I said nothing, just stared. Robert pulled out a letter. Your father left a letter to be read aloud to both of you. He began reading. Marcus and Sophia, if you're hearing this, I'm gone. And Marcus, you're probably furious. Sophia, you're probably shocked. Let me explain. Marcus, I gave you everything for 30 years. Every opportunity, every dollar, every ounce of pride and attention. I gave you over $400,000 across your lifetime. And what did you do with it? You failed. Every business, every investment, every opportunity. I gave my money and you wasted it. I kept giving because I hoped you'd learn, hoped you'd grow, hoped you'd become the man I wanted you to be. You didn't. You became entitled, dependent, weak. Sophia, I gave you nothing for 30 years. I told you to figure it out. And you did. You put yourself through college, paid off your loans, bought your house, built your career. You became successful without my help. I favored Marcus because I thought he needed me. I neglected you because I thought you didn't. I was wrong, completely wrong. Marcus needed discipline, not money, consequences, not bailouts. You deserve support, not dismissal. I'm fixing that now. Too late, I know, but I'm trying. Marcus, you get $50,000. Enough to start over if you're finally ready to work for it, but not enough to waste again. Sophia, you get everything else. Not because you need it, you've